Okay, we're reaching the appointed hour. We'll call this meeting into session. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
President Terrio,
Here.
Member Ferrera. Here. Member Collins.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and deemed acknowledged and permissible. First item on our agenda is citizen input. I do not see any citizen input. We will move to item number 2, the minutes of previous meetings. As you recall, we skipped the June 15th and the July 13th minutes. If you'd like to take a minute to review them, the chair would entertain that. And if there are no questions, comments, adjustments, or omissions, the chair would entertain a motion first to accept the minutes of the June 15th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor? Aye. And a motion for the July 13th minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made,
Second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are now proceeding at light speed to proposed leak abatements. Turn this over to the clerk. Is there anything that we should discuss? Most of them look pretty straightforward.
Yeah, there was no hair-raising ones through here. There was some denials based on not meeting the requirements of the leak abatement policy. Other than that, all the ones proposed were compliant with the leak abatement policy in the amounts shown.
Once again, it's toilets. We cannot stress strongly enough how important it is to watch toilet leaks, float valves, etc. The chair would entertain a motion to accept the abatements as submitted to us for this month in the amount of, now, total of $10,142.24.
Motion approved as listed.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Moving along to lead service design lead service design contract, Woodward and Curran. Mr. Clerk.
So in the packet provided to you, and I know on the agenda there's hyphens in front of all the numbers on this agenda, but those are just hyphens, not a negative sign, so I don't want anybody to be confused. So this is a contract for $350,000 for Woodward and Curran to design lead service removal contracts for the next fiscal year. We're expecting 2 contracts of roughly 350 to 400 services each contract. A large amount of inspections are required due to unknowns throughout the city and verifications that need to be done. So this is the contract with Woodward and Curran to be able to do that design. My hope is we're currently under construction in the lead service contract with A.D. Paolini. The contract is going very good, both from a design standpoint and also working with the contractor. They are slated for 500 this year. They're on target and they're moving forward. So this will get us in line to be able to roll right out with a contract. My hope is to be able to have one of these contracts to be able to bid the end of November, so that they'll be able to start the December 1st, because as per our ACOP, we have to remove 600 next calendar year.
Yeah.
And then also a secondary contract would be coming out probably towards the end of first quarter of the calendar year to be able to get a second contractor on board to also do additional lead service replacement next calendar year.
And these contracts are calendar year to calendar year
The requirements of the ACO.
of the ACO, that's
Yes,
right.
calendar year to calendar year.
Well, we're doing what we told them we would do, and
Yeah, we're right on track so far this year. We're at about 300 for this calendar year. And they're pushing forward with 2 to 3 a day.
I would amend your statement and say that we're doing what they told us to do.
I stand corrected. Thank you, Commissioner Collins. I agree, they told us to do it, we did not tell them. You are so right, my friend. All right, we would expect to see this contract before the board next month?
So, yeah, this is the contract for design. Again, I plan to bid probably November timeframe.
Okay.
Bid would go out. I imagine the board will see a contract for construction in December timeframe.
All right, excellent. Now, you want to vote to approve the contract amount of $350,000? Is that how you would like to put this? Or
Yep.
Not to exceed 350 or 350?
Yeah, not to exceed 3.
Not to exceed 350. The chair would entertain a motion to go ahead with the lead service design contract to Woodward and Curran for an amount not to exceed $350,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just a note on that too, that is all gonna be paid for with a WIN grant that we received from the US EPA. So it will not cost our ratepayers anything.
So, even more important, but item number 5, lead service leak rebate program. Now, this is a leak rebate just for emergency service leaks that occur.
Yeah, so, I was in front of council recently, with a homeowner, that had a leak on the lead surface in their house. It was in between the curb stop and the house. Historically, by ordinance, a homeowner is responsible for their water service from the main all the way into the meter. So the main underneath the asphalt, underneath the sidewalk, underneath their front lawn, all the way into the meter. That's what ordinance states. Historically, the water department has maintained from the water main to the curb stop. The homeowner has always been responsible, which is near the property line. The homeowner has always been responsible from that curb stop near the property line all the way into the meter on their house. The current lead service abatement program that we have in place is for $500. That was upgraded from the $100 when it was originally implemented in 2005, underneath the 2005 ACOP. That covers a very, very small portion of any type of lead service work that's being done. So this program here would only be for emergency replacement. So as it stands right now, we have a contractor under contract. Somebody calls us up, says, I have a lead service in my house, I want to get it replaced right now. We're able to have our contractor schedule that house within the next 3 to 4 weeks to be able to get that lead service replaced. The problem where we have an issue is where somebody has a leak on their lead service in between the curb stop and the house. If we're able to, we have our contractor go there currently, and we've done this on a couple of houses, where we temporarily bypass from the next door house to their house to provide them water service until the contractor is able to get them scheduled in. Sometimes that can't happen, at night or on a weekend or something like that, and a homeowner needs to call in a private contractor to be able to do work on their private property. Water department staff, we will not go on private property to repair or replace the service. We will take care of the street portion again from the main to the curb stop, but we won't go onto a private property, so
Yeah.
we require the private homeowner to hire a contractor. This policy, as it provides, would be able to provide a rebate on the customer's bill in the amount up to $3,000, and it would be able to be used to offset the cost that they would have to pay for that repair from the curb stop into the house. You know, again, there's a couple ways to look at this. The leak, whether it's copper, plastic, lead, is the customer's responsibility. But again, since we have federal funding and different programs in place right now, to be able to provide a rebate for those that are getting the lead out, which is essentially what we're trying to do, this helps incentivize those people that have a leak on their service, helps them get the lead out of it. Again, this would be an emergency basis only, so somebody has a leak in on their property from the curb stop into the house, or in the basement next to the meter. They call up the water department, hey, I got a leak in my water service. We go out there, we determine that there's a leak, we determine that it's a lead service, and we're not able to get our contractor to go over to make the repair. We will tell them you have to call a licensed drain layer from the drain layers list, and then there's a process to go through here, which will make them eligible to be able to get that up to $3,000 credit on their bill. You know, I've met and they feel that the financial team feels that we'll be able to use ARPA funding for reimbursement of this because it's a rebate for work that's done, so they feel that it's not going to cost our ratepayers, again, anything. Since we have the federal funding available, we will be able to use it to reimburse ourselves these expenses up until 2026, because that's the last use date of the ARPA funding.
This is something that won't, isn't a normal occurrence.
No, we've probably had, I would say we've had maybe 20 of them
Really?
since November. I would expect that I would like that this policy be put into effect retroactively to when the ACOP was signed, which was November of 2022, so that those people are eligible.
And the 3,000, assuming it went that high, would appear as a credit on the water portion of the account.
Correct. And we're working with the financial team so we don't take the cash influx in one fiscal year.
Yeah.
Because we're cash actual basis, we're working with them so that it'll trickle in over a 3 to 4 year period prior to 2026.
Just have one question. Putting a credit versus a rebate, it could take you quite a while to use up a $3,000 credit on the water side.
Yeah, well, again, that's why it's set up as it'll be water, sewer, it'll be, and again, yeah, it may take.
So you could apply it on both?
Yeah, it'll be applied to their
Okay.
utility bill.
So
Yeah.
they can use it past 2026,
Right,
because,
it
you
will,
know,
right, so
my
if,
girls shower 4 times a day, I think, and it's gonna be a while to get through this, so, yeah.
yeah, no,
Okay.
it will, you know, again, we're looking over, to apply that full $3,000 prior to the 2026 deadline. So will be applied to the account prior to that. If it's all not used up in a year, it'll sit on the account until it's fully used up.
The program itself, on our side, the funding for it would expire in 2026, and we would have to go look for funding for this to continue elsewhere.
Past 2026, yes.
But when do we have to have all the lead services completed?
So we have 400 this calendar year, 600 next calendar year, 600 in 2025, and then 400 every year after until they're all removed.
Okay,
I expect worst case scenario, we're probably looking at 6 years.
okay.
At which time it will be time to start painting water towers again.
There are other capital improvements that aren't needed yet throughout this time too.
All right. Well, very interesting. We're looking for a straight approval on this.
Yeah, if that's what
Okay, the
board-
chair would entertain a motion to approve the lead service leak rebate program as submitted.
So moved.
Is there language in here that makes it retroactive? Do we need to add those particular items, or?
Yeah, if you would like to add that to the motion, that would be good, make it retroactive to when the ACOP was signed with DEP,
Okay, so
would be
we're-
a date for that?
November 7th, 2022.
Retroactive to 11/7/22.
Yes.
And then, I suppose if everyone else agrees, or if you'd like to discuss, that we, in 2026, review the program. In that we would not have the funding in 2026 from,
So,
Yeah, so in 2026.
how do you wanna,
So just in the motion, if you want to include in 2026, that a review of the program be done to
just so
assess.
that the board at that time assesses
The funding.
whether we
Yeah,
have
it
funding
moving
to
forward.
continue with the program, or we need to go look under a rock for it somewhere. or
yeah,
whatever
because
it
we
is.
may not need it going
We
forward.
may not need it, or we may not have the money for it, so.
Okay, so,
So that it gets brought, nobody knows if any of the four of us will be here in 2026, so.
so the motion should entail, the proposed lead service leak repair rebate program retroactive to November 7th of 2022, and to be reviewed in 2026 to see if there is a need to further the
Program
program.
funding, yeah.
All right. Do we have that
Where you got it?
in the motion? Thank you. Let's take a vote on that, though, as amended.
Absolutely.
So
Motion
moved.
is made.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, fluoride in drinking water. I will turn this over entirely to,
Excellent, thank you very much. So, first we'll have a little bit of discussion on fluoride. I think most of the board members have received some emails from people. So let's just, let me just do a little recap where we are, what's happened, and where we're going. So in 2019, we had an issue with obtaining fluoride that works within our feed system. So the fluoride that we're receiving was coming in different texture than it did
Yeah, it was a powder.
previously. So we used to get it was almost like sand. Then we were getting it was like a flour consistency that was clogging up volumetric feeder that we used to be able to feed the fluoride into our drinking water system. So we went through, the Director of Treatment and Resources at the time did an excellent job scouring the country, scouring, Europe, China, trying to find a supplier that would be able to supply us what we were. The big issue was come to find out the manufacturer that was manufacturing ours was originally from China. Their plant caught on fire and was shut down, wasn't rebuilt. So we were getting it from a different, it was coming to us from our distributors through different suppliers at that point. We tried multiple different types of product from different other distributors with no luck. We tried modifying our own system in-house and adding vibrators to it, manual agitation, air agitation, multiple different things to try to get our volumetric feeder to be able to constantly provide what the volume that was needed, and we were unable to do that. So we then again made the determination to shut down the fluoride. And we've had some discussions about this in the past. You know, we looked at it and, you know, kind of have two options at that point. That we need to upgrade our systems with, you know, capital improvement into our systems, or discontinue the use of fluoride. Fluoride is not a mandated chemical for the drinking water system. It's one that people that claims to have health benefits to the population. And over time, they've said especially EJ communities as a benefit too. So this is really under the guidance of the Board of Health. So fluoride, all of our reports go to the State Department of Health. And to be able to discontinue fluoride, what would need to be done, it would need to go to the Board of Health. The Board of Health would then need to make a recommendation to the City Council. The City Council would then need to take a vote for it to go up to the state to be approved for discontinuance of fluoride. Other communities have done it in Massachusetts and other states. I went to our Board of Health and laid out the issues that we were talking about, $1 million to $1.5 million capital upgrade needed at our water treatment facility, or discontinuance. The Board of Health was adamantly against discontinuance of fluoride, and was really wondering how quickly we could get the fluoride back up and running. At that point, without a funding source or anything else, we weren't able to move forward. I worked with Tess Curran from the Board of Health, as well as the administration, and we've been able to secure funding through ARPA in the amount of $1.28 million, which was the estimated cost from the initial study that was done, to be able to upgrade all of our fluoride and related systems that need to be upgraded down at our water treatment plant. Some of the recent correspondence that has come in, I've received some calls and there's been some emails sent from people that are against the use of fluoridate, adding fluoride to the water. You know, and there's a pro and con side to, there's a for side and against side on fluoride, and I think there has been for years. Again, I don't think it's really up to this board whether we add fluoride or we don't add fluoride, because we're not trained. I'm not a trained health professional. I can't make that determination. You know, so that's why we leave that up to the Board of Health. It is our job. They're ordering us to continue the use of fluorination. That's what we need to facilitate.
Is there a savings to the ratepayer if you don't provide fluoride in the water?
So if we don't provide fluoride,
See?
Sorry.
There it is.
Would there be a savings? Yes. What that amounts to, because ratepayers do pay for all the chemicals that go into our water, 100%. As I said, the capital costs upgraded and needed to invest in the capital upgrade. That is provided by the ARPA funds, but there is no, so there is no increase to the ratepayer for that. We always have added fluoride. I can say probably about 3 to 4 years ago, we budgeted about $40,000 for a year for the fluoride that we were getting. In most recent years, the bids have come back, although they haven't been able to provide us the product, at $130,000 to $140,000 a year. So a substantial increase, but that's for sodium silica fluoride. When we went through our initial when I had Ray Pierce do the initial study on the fluoridation, there's really 3 types of fluoride that you can use. Sodium silica fluoride, fluoroacetic acid, and the third one skips my mind. But through our evaluation, we realized that fluoroacetic acid would probably be the best route for us to go. The lowest capital cost, the lowest annual cost per year, and the capital cost was a bit more because you're dealing with a liquid, and it's an acidic liquid, so some of the stuff needed to be. But again, it's safe. I've had them. They talk to multiple systems that do use that product, and the systems are happy with the product. The annual cost for chemical is estimated to be the same that we used to pay or less.
Are you saying the same we used to pay in the $40,000 range?
Yep. So, again, there is a cost to adding this chemical. There always has been a cost. So,
I personally am in favor of returning to adding fluoride into the water, and I base that solely upon that when Fall River was adding fluoride to its drinking water, our neighboring city of New Bedford was not at that time, and the difference was actually reimbursed back to the city by the welfare department because they were paying less for children's dental work, and the fluoride reimbursement was based upon the fact that fluoride was believed to add stronger dental health in children. I've never heard anything other than that. But again, as you said, it's not up to us. It's up to the Public Health Board, who are charged with that oversight. And if they feel that it's a good thing, I'm in favor of it. So, if there are any other discussion, I'm certainly open to hearing that, but if not, I'd like to get a vote to proceed with what it's going to take with a design contract to Wright Pierce in an amount not to exceed $200,000 to come from ARPA funding.
I'm just gonna ask, I'm assuming that the design phase is also included in the funding.
yes. So the $1.28 million that was awarded for ARPA is for design, construction management based on the estimates that were provided on the initial study. Construction prices are sometimes all over the place, but I think we're pretty confident that we'll be able to do this. There was a lot, so there's work on the fluoride system, and there was a lot of additional backup work of upgrading our PLCs so that it would work with the new fluoride system, and some of that stuff that's also included within this contract.
I would make a motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the lead service map presentation.
Alright, so let me see whether this works up on the screen. This is a little bit of a preview. It's something that I actually already wanted to have out to the public already. Haven't been able to get it out, but I wanted to get it out to the board here at least. I plan on doing a large press release and a big notice to try to get people to be able to use this site. This is a site that was developed through our ongoing lead service replacement program that allows a customer, this will be on the city's webpage, a link to it, it allows the customer to come in to this site. Gives them a little bit of information about the program that we already have, kind of what a service is. This is a little picture that we have, water service, going into the house. You know, what are we doing to help to, you know, and it talked about the replacement program that we have underway. This is really to help us try to find out what service material is going into the houses. Our records, our cards indicate the service material typically from the main to the curb stop. It doesn't say that from there into the house is copper, or it is lead, or it's something else. Underneath the new guidelines of the lead copper revised replacement law, if you can't specifically know what the material is, then it's what's called an unknown. And there's unknown possibly containing lead, unknown not containing lead. So anything with a house built after 1987 could be an unknown non-containing lead. Anything prior to that could be an unknown possibly containing lead. So we have a large number of unknowns. Starting the end of 2024, all of those unknowns under the revised lead and copper rule, those unknowns that possibly lead need to be counted as lead services. So the more that we can figure out what type of material is coming into somebody's basement, the more that it is going to help us knock down and chisel down that list. That'll also help us narrow down the amount of work that we have to do. We've been hammering with inspectors, so we're reaching out to people in multiple different ways. We're doing hand-delivered notification to contact us. We're doing mailings. Our contractor is doing mailings to get notification from customers. We're having our staff in the water department office call homes from 4 to 7 at night. We have some of the clerks staying to be able to personally call to try to schedule appointments. We have inspectors that are, our staff is working Monday, Wednesday, doing inspections. We have other inspectors that are working other days of the week. We're just starting with night inspections from 4 to 7 at night. And then also Saturdays, we're starting to schedule Saturday inspections. So we're trying to make it as easy for the customer, for us to come in for a 10 to 15 minute period, look in their basement, see what type of materials in their basement. This is one thing that's really going to help a customer try to understand whether they have a lead service or not. So this is an interactive map where the customer will be able to go and zoom in and go right to a property.
Wow.
So this is all the services for all of these houses. So if I want to look for a specific service, I could go right in here, zoom in, and this is 568 Weedamo Street. So it has this circle in front of it with a line down the center, and it's blue on both sides. So what does that mean? If I come over here and I scroll down a little bit, this helps explain what that is. So there's that circle that they see in front of their house with a line through the center. The left-hand side of that circle is the material on the street side. Whatever color corresponds to this, whether it's lead, galvanized, unknown, unknown definitely does not contain lead or non-lead. The right-hand side of the circle is the house side. That will, again, maybe a different color. So on this particular property where we just were, scroll back up,
Blue both sides.
686 Weedamo Street, blue both sides. So we know that that's copper or plastic. That is a non-lead service. So that's good. So let's look at,
Oh.
yes, so over here, 540 Weedamo Street.
Maybe this person is watching.
They may be, and I would love for them to contact us to be able to go in so we can do an inspection. But this house, they see that they have a blue side, which is non-lead, and it's known. And then we have a red side, which red
Is lead.
is lead. So from our records, what we have on record means that from the curb stop into their house is a lead service. If that is a lead service, then they are eligible right now underneath the program that we have to be able to get that lead service replaced at no cost to them. So this map is really going to help us identify those services. Multiple ways people may be able to come onto this map and say, oh wow, I have a lead service, or I have an unknown. Let me call the water department so that I can schedule an inspection, have somebody come out, take a look at it. Or also on this site, there's ways right above this map through the EPA's Protect Your Tap program or the Mass DEP Service Line Identification Tool, where a customer could go, and this will walk you right through the process on how to identify what the material of your service coming into your house is. And then you can input your information, your address, your name, your service material, pictures. You can put it right into there, and it automatically comes to us so that we can update it on our site. This whole entire map links back to our asset management software. So as our inspector goes out there, does that inspection, inputs the information right into our asset management software, it automatically updates this site. So within a day or so, the customer should see. So if we were to go out to that property and say, nope, that's actually a copper service, it must have been replaced at some time where we don't have documentation for it, then tomorrow, if we do that, we document it in our asset management software, then tomorrow the other side of that circle would be blue. So if we go in and we find another one, so 572 Weedamo Street, you have this service here, blue on one side, gray on one side. Gray means that we don't know what the material type is. So we don't know if it's plastic, we don't know if it's lead, we don't know if it's copper. So in 2024, all these gray dots up here will be assumed lead by the revised lead and copper rule. So being able to get a lot of this information figured out now is definitely going to help us in the future. As you scroll down this site too, it gives you kind of the key for the maps. Then there's some basic information about our program, Mass DEP and EPA resources, and some of the different notices and press releases that we've had out, some information about water filters and stuff like that. So this is really kind of a homepage for our lead program as we know it. This is a fully this will be available to all the public on the city webpage, able for any person in the public to be able to go and scan through and find their property. Upper left-hand side, there's a search function. So if you don't want to zoom in and stuff like that, you can just come up to this bar here, type in your address, and it'll automatically bring you to your street address. And I think I just heard somebody say there's a lot of gray
That's
up
a lot
there.
of gray.
That is a lot of gray, without a doubt. And we could have taken an easy approach and said, all right, well, this side of the service is copper, that side is copper. I'm just not comfortable doing that.
No.
I feel to be able to make sure that this program is done and done correctly, and that we get all the lead out of the system, that we need to make sure that we do this properly and go through. EPA audits communities all the time, and it's typically on their inventory and how they develop their inventory. If EPA comes in and isn't satisfied with how you've done that, then you're back to square one. So taking shortcuts at this point, I don't think is the right thing to do. And we're going to be asking for all the residents' help, the property owners' help, to either help identify their own service or contact us for an inspection.
What a fantastic tool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
so developing this whole entire site and everything too, again, was provided with funding from a grant. It was the L-Pipe grant that we
Wow.
received from EPA.
I'll tell you, Having seen firsthand the pencil scribbles on the back of cards stuck in corners of cabinets up at maintenance in the old building, this is fantastic.
Sometimes just trying to read and understand a service, whether it's water or sewer, from the 80s, is hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah,
I can't speak directly for anything in the short term in Fall River, but in other towns that we work in, I'll get paperwork and it's relatively new, and it's incorrect.
yeah. Wow,
No, that looks awesome.
what a tool.
So, again, I just wanted to bring this to the board's attention. Within the next couple of weeks, we'll probably be rolling that out citywide and trying to put a real big press push on it to let people know that it's available for their use.
All right. We don't need to do anything other than await that and move to item number 8, Copaca Rifle Association lease agreement. Copaca Rifle Association has been a tenant of ours for quite some time, and this is the renewal of their lease agreement. They will be paying a fee in the by a license of $6,000 a year, and I don't see any change. I'm sorry.
An extra $300 a year.
The 6,000.
Plus an additional 300 per.
Oh, I'm
year.
sorry. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You can go
Thank-
back up.
Yeah, no, you know what it was? I was reading that we were going up 300,
Yeah.
no, an additional 300, the license to agree as follows. Okay, so there are no changes in the basic license agreement.
No, the license agreement has stayed the same as the past.
Okay, that's the 82 or 85, and then it was reinserted into the bioreserve in 2009.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
good.
then this license agreement was kind of updated about 3 years ago, and that's what we've used. It's been in place for the past three years. This is what's current. And if the board approves this, if there's any minor clerical corrections or notations made by the law department, they do. I don't think it should come back to the board if there's any substantial changes to the license agreement, then it would come back to the board.
All right then.
While we're talking about leases, what's the deal with the Watuppa Rowing Center?
Yeah, so the Watuppa Rowing Center is fully up to date on their
Perfect.
payments that are required. So they did, just saw the check come in a couple of days ago.
Oh,
for
perfect.
the
I know they had a
past
big gala, so I was hoping we were gonna get some money.
month. Just to know the one.
I wanted to make sure there was a funding source before I asked the question, but okay.
Just to note they do.
No,
still have-
it's tough.
She's the property owner that knocks on the door at 3:45.
Oh, I tell you, 2 a.m.
Late in the rent from last week.
Where's
Yeah.
my $2?
That's right. Where's my $2?
Yeah, just to note though, there is a balloon payment that this board agreed to extend out in the
Yes.
past that is gonna be coming due sometime soon.
Okay,
So, motion then.
back to Copaca.
Yes, motion to approve the lease renewal for the rifle range.
License.
I'm sorry, license.
License renewal.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Wilson, item number,
I'm only saying that because we have it listed two different.
item number 9, the Wilson Road Pump Station, Bisco Building Systems. Looks like a change order in the amount of $530,492.63. Mr. Clerk.
Yeah, so this change order, the actual amount was actually, was reduced from what was on the agenda. It is $518,717.63.
So the agenda should be reduced to 518,717.
Yep, I do apologize for not bringing that out to your attention before, but just as we
Thank
reviewed
you.
this change order, there was a
Oh, also.
issue with the mock-up. So this is originally during the Wilson Road project. There was underneath the bridge that crosses Route 24. We have a water main that will feed that new water booster station. About 2 years ago, a section of that water main broke. We were able to isolate it. We knew this project was coming up. Within this project, we put in there to replace about an 8-foot section of that main that runs underneath that bridge. Once this project was underway, we were able to get in there and inspect the main that crosses the whole entire bridge. The whole entire thing is in worse shape than originally anticipated. Originally, this main should have been replaced, but working with Mass DOT when they rehabbed their bridge a year ago, we had initial discussions with them 4 years ago to do that. They left us off their project when they did their project of rehabbing underneath the bridge. Now we're at this point where we need to take care of our water main. We fully got the permit from DOT. This is to replace the pipe underneath the bridge all the way from abutment to abutment. So this will fully replace the pipe crossing underneath that bridge. That is probably from when the bridge was put in back in the 60s.
That's a long stretch, 230 feet.
Yeah, definitely a big stretch. Again, this is all night work, shutting down lanes of Route 24 so they can get lifts out in the roadway to get up underneath the bridge to be able to do it. Moving those lane shutdowns night by night across the highway to be able to complete this project within the specified amount of time.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So again, just traffic setups on these things are extremely difficult to deal with. Route 24, all night work. There is a Mass DOT permit that we need to follow and anticipate. That was issued just a little while ago, so we don't expect any changes from this unless there's something that we were unable to see during our inspections.
Funding to come from?
So this whole entire project, if you remember, this project was fully funded from, so part of the project is funded from sewer, part of it's funded from water. We were able to get a $2.5 million grant from Mass Works for this project, which opened up some of that initial funding that was slated from authorizations within the water. So this will be coming from contingency within the Mass Works grant, as well as water department authorizations that are in place.
No impact on the ratepayer.
The only impact would be the loan from paying back that portion of it that's paid from the authorization that's in place.
Gotcha. Okay. So what we are looking to do is get approval for pump station water main replacement, change order 1, in the amount of $518,717.63.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 10, Serpent contract. How are our friends at Serpent?
They are good. So this contract is it's in relation to a grant that we got. So this past year, we applied for a grant through the MVP program, Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program, to do a firm yield study on our water supply. If you remember, about 3 years ago, we did a regional analysis to show how our community interconnects to other communities that may need water. What we really need to do is figure out with our current water supplies being North Watuppa, Copacut, and with the South Watuppa being cleaned up and that available, as it is one of our, it is on our water registration, what that could yield. So this also comes at a crucial time where I think I mentioned to the board about the change in the Water Management Act regulations, which would require any registered water supplier, which we are, we're not a permitted water supplier, we're a registered water supplier. Any registered water supplier that does not have 2 times their yearly yield in storage must go into drought conditions when the state drought management board issues drought conditions.
So can I ask a question? Is
Yeah.
storage in tanks or is storage in the ponds?
So when you're talking yield storage, it's what's in the ponds.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So essentially that means we would have to have 2 times what we would use in a normal year available for our use in our ponds, so that we wouldn't have to go in drought conditions. When I did a quick calculation based off of the analysis that was done for our Water Management Act permit back in 1986, as well as yield studies that were done in 2011 by Mass DEP, I came up with about, using just North Watuppa and Copacut, I came up with about 1.86. 1.96, which is under the 2. As the board knows, we are appealing this decision to the Superior Court of Massachusetts, along with 15 other communities. So that's all in flux. What this kind of all means to us. So you take a year like not this past summer, the summer before. The state was in extreme drought conditions. City of Fall River, we did not have any drought restrictions. Our supply of water was never in peril because we have enough supply. It's managed properly with Copacut and North Watuppa. We never broke 36 inches below full pond, which isn't very bad for us. But if this regulation was in place at that time, we would have had to put out watering restrictions, all drought conservation that any other community around the state would have to do, which on top of not being good because people get upset about that, it would also be a hit on our revenues.
Yeah, huge cut.
So, what I hope this study helps us show is that we have 2 times that safe yield. So, kind of just, and I say safe yield, they say you can't say safe anymore, so firm yield. That's what this grant through MVP was originally applied to do. Serpent is going to be working with us to do some of the public outreach, some of the management of the grant, some of the administrative things that are required. We're going to be getting a specialist on board to be able to do the technical end of the evaluation of the yield studies, and we'll be moving forward with the procurement process of that. But this is to get Serpent on board so that we can start some of the project management, some of the public involvement type things, to be able to work our way through it and meet all of the grant requirements. The contract's for $43,167, and again, the grant is through the MVP program. There is a match that's provided by us, which we do have available within our current authorizations.
Do you require a vote to accept the?
Yep. So accept the contract as on file. I went a little bit off and explained a little bit about the whole entire project so that you understood what was behind the firm yield study assessment.
Okay. Then we need a motion to approve the Serpent contract for the regional water supply firm yield study.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, correspondence from Mr. Stephen Kowalski of 1532 Bedford Street. He has lodged a formal complaint of dirty sediment and filthy rusty water from his location. I thought he was tapped on Bedford.
He's tapped on Stonehaven.
He's tapped on Stonehaven, so are we, right?
Correct.
The new building?
Correct.
We're not getting any dirty water.
Have not
Have,
observed it.
so, my understanding is he's provided some, water bottle samples to a city councilor and to you.
Yep.
Have we offered, have we tried to do a third-party test of his property?
We wouldn't do, we don't do tests at the taps.
Yeah.
You know, he has provided bottles of water and different types of things to many different people throughout the community. Some of those people that did receive it within, you know, the structure of the city of Fall River did go and, you know, not from what they've told me, they went to see if they could go inside of his house, see where the tap was that dirty water came out of. He refused them entry to the house and said he wouldn't allow them to come in and see it. So that's so far the extent. Again, you know, he has sent over a very, you know, and everything that he has sent has been a very coagulated type of almost a flock of rusty, you know, contaminants, something that you would pull out of your filter container when you're changing your filter.
And he uses, and he's asking for the city to supply him with a coconut carbon micron filter. We began supplying water filters, string type filters, when the rusty water problem back in the Lambert administration had reached critical, and we began giving these filters, the filter cartridges, out to residents, and they have worked beautifully, and I see no reason to change our filters, nor do I see any reason to purchase anything other than what we have been successfully using throughout the city. That's my opinion. But I've seen an awful lot of dirty water in my time, and these filters have worked beautifully. In addition to the fact that we've pulled out almost 40 miles of tuberculated cast iron water main and continue to do so. Mr. Kowalski is familiar to the chair. I get emails from him regarding climate change. But I honestly and truly, I don't see anything in this complaint that I think needs to be acted upon. If someone else does, I'm all ears. But, I mean, we just, you know, and I had thought Mr. Kowalski was tapped on Bedford. You corrected me, he's tapped on Stonehaven. Well, with the new wash bays in the new building, my gosh, you're gonna have far more water being run through that main than ever. And if there was a tuberculation issue, it would clear up. That's my opinion.
Yeah, again, so, you know, I wanted to take this opportunity just to let people know what we do provide. As the chair said, for years we've provided 10 by 2.5 string wound filters like this one. Any customer can pick them up at the Water Maintenance Building, 1620 Bedford Street. We've been doing it for a number of years. We keep these in stock. This is for a customer that may get you know, lightly discolored water or something like that. If they have a filter cartridge in their basement, we provide them with these replacement cartridges for the filter.
I think what the chair would like to do is just
Make a motion to place on file.
say again.
Make a motion to place on file.
We have a motion to place the correspondence on file.
So moved.
Second, all in favor say aye. Correspondence will be placed on file. Thank you very much. Okay, at this point, we had discussed whether or not there's a need to go into executive session. I'm going to ask the clerk, does he feel that we need to? If we do, the chair would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So these are just, again, one is discussion on a lease negotiation, one is potential litigation. That's the reason that I did place these with the potential.
Well, why don't we go into executive session, the motion to go into executive session should include the, whether or not the board will resume in open session or will adjourn in executive session. Do you, I will ask the clerk, do you feel that we can satisfy all the business in executive session and then adjourn in executive session? Or would you like us to return to open session?
I did leave one additional
Okay.
item that I feel should be in open
Okay,
session.
then what we will do is go into executive session for items 12, 13, and 14 to return from executive session into open session to handle agenda item number 15. So we will go into executive session and then adjourn executive session and return in open session. Could I have a motion to that?
Motion made.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the board is now in executive session, and we have returned into open session. Item number 15, Water Department staffing discussion. Mr. Clerk.
So, just want to bring up to you where we are with staffing. We've talked about this extensively last year when we were going through the budget process, because there was negotiated increases that were based on the budget and rate increases for the current fiscal year. So what I prepared for you is just a basic breakdown of positions that we have open throughout the division. We have 6 water maintenance worker positions, so that could be all the way from a water maintenance worker 2, a basic laborer, a water maintenance worker 1, a skilled laborer, a water maintenance worker 1 with a CDL or backhoe, water maintenance worker 1 with CDL and backhoe, or an advanced backhoe operator, which is a working foreman on a crew. So depending on the skill level of the applicant, depends on what pay grade they would come in at. There are 3 steps to every pay grade that we have, all union pay grades, and every April you come in at step 1, and every April you increase the step. So we have 6 of those positions within the water maintenance division. That's a division of 18 employees, 22 employees, but you have clerk, you have the mechanic, you have the director, you have the engineering aide, so those are people that are not out on the street working. So you're down to about 18 or so employees, so we're missing about a third of the employees within that division. As you come down the list, administrative division, these costs are split between water and sewer. 2 project managers positions are currently vacant. One that has been fully funded. The other 2 come in to be able to work with a current project manager that will be leaving us sometime in the near future. water treatment swing shift operator. That is open position, so as of today, I actually just received the appointment letter for an operator for the third shift. So I'll talk a little bit. So we had a staff member who was a watchman attendant. We sent him for schooling to become an operator. We applied to the Massachusetts State Board about 6 months ago to get an emergency certification for him. They did issue that certification. He has been working as the swing shift operator since then. He has decided that he doesn't want to move forward with obtaining an operator's license. It is a difficult license with the math involved and stuff like that. So as of actually next Thursday, he is going back to his watchman attendant's position. So that position that was open, first shift watchman attendant, will be filled, but then that opens up the swing shift operator. As of today, I just actually received the signed appointment letter back for a new employee to come on. This is an employee that has passed his grade 4 exam for treatment operator.
Oh, wow.
And has submitted to the board for his full license. So as it stands, I'll be taking him on as a grade 2 until he gets fully licensed and is able to operate. He's looking to take third shift, which is a great thing. So then we only have swing shift open. We do have 2 employees down at the plant that are going through the steps, and I'm very confident that they'll be able to get their operator's license. So my hope is that we'll be able to fill those positions soon. But then if they switch to an operator's position, then that opens up their maintenance position. So we're back trying to fill a maintenance position. So, it's always a moving thing, but
It's very fluid down there.
yes. But something that we manage, and with the increases that we're seeing over the past 2 years for those operators, we've been able to maintain some staff. The reservation staff, we're only missing 1 person from the blue crew, or the old reservation staff of 3. The green crew is staffed currently with 3. We just brought on a new employee within the past couple of weeks. So we're down a number of employees throughout that. I did add on here the wastewater side as well through Veolia. There's collections tech, there's 3 positions vacant. Wastewater treatment operators, 2 positions. A utility worker, 1 position, and an ops supervisor, 1 position. That's currently what's vacant down at the wastewater plant. I just wanted to put that on there to show the battles that we're having on both sides. So our new director of water maintenance that was appointed, Brian Jacobs. One of his first tasks that I gave him was going through a list of applicants and recalling people that have applied really over the past 6 months or so, see whether there's any interest, and some recent applicants that we've had. So he's spent the past couple of days on the phone talking to potential applicants. I always like to, the hiring process that I go through, I like to talk to them first, explain a little bit about the job, explain what our rates are, see whether they're interested from there. I don't want to waste anybody's time or our time with them coming in for an interview and then just not being interested. So, and he's getting, still with our new rates that we put in place, he's still getting a fair number of people that are saying, you're not close to.
Not enough.
Yeah, so, and it's tough. We are a niche field, so to bring anybody in as a hire, water maintenance worker 1 or anything like that, is tough if they don't know anything about the underground utility world or the water field or anything like that. We are always looking to promote our guys internally from a 2 to a 1 once they become knowledgeable within the field. That's something that we do internally with approval of the administration. But it is always a battle. Within the maintenance division, I feel that on the horizon that there may be 1 or 2 more people leaving us. And then, within the administration office, again, one or two people, leaving there. Administration, we were down 2 clerks, but we were able to fill those within the past couple of months. But I think there may be 2 vacancies on the horizon.
Is it mostly money? They're mostly either not coming in because you're not paying enough, and they're not staying because you're not paying enough. Like what? Because ultimately we need to find out what the reason is, because you know what I mean. You're
Yeah.
17 open positions right now.
Yeah, no, pay, like I said, it definitely is a big thing, you know, Brian's, you know, Mr. Jacob, the director, has been calling, and, a lot of people just, it's not enough for them. You know, and again, our increases were dramatic for us, going from $15 an hour, $15.76 an hour, up to 17 and change for somebody coming in was a big jump for us, but not big enough for comparatives out there.
No.
You know, because
On the private side,
yeah,
it's twice that easily.
On a prevailing rate job, I have to pay a laborer, I think, $68 an hour.
right.
So
You know,
why
that's-
would I come here?
That's what we're competing against. And
Mechanics 80 something and change.
Yeah.
Operators 80 something and
Yeah.
change. So it would just, it's almost impossible for us to compete. And granted, there is insurance and other benefits and whatnot that
Yep.
that do not come in on the prevailing
Yep.
wage side, right? That's a blanket pay, but even if you were to go and work for, you know, I mean, we've lost a number of guys to private construction companies in the past year or 2, and that's, you know, it's very easy to walk away for twice the pay.
yeah, no, I you know, I'm 100% with that. And as we talked about last year, and you know, if there's changes that needs to be made this year, all that is related to our rate. To be able to pay our staff more, our rate needs to go up more.
You know, at some point, maybe we should talk about what, you know, how competitive we are to other cities and towns.
Other cities and towns, yeah, other municipalities.
Possibly that, you know, other municipalities that may not necessarily be neighboring, you know, like what are some of these positions getting an hour north of here, you know, in the suburbs, you know, in the Boston suburbs.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely we can do, you know, when this was put together. And the tough thing was, you know, we did the side letter with the union, in relation, and it took so long to get through that side letter. All of our comparisons, everything were based off of 6 months prior. That's what we were working for. When we got to the end, we were still 6, so then we were 6 months behind everybody else going up.
Yeah, in 18 months, numbers have increased. Things have kind of slowed down at this point, but in the last 18 months up until maybe 3 or 4 months ago, it's just unbelievable to see that the numbers change, how fast the numbers change.
Yeah. You know, and CDL is a tough thing for us right now. We have 3 CDL drivers, including the 4 with the director in the water maintenance. 3 with the director in the water maintenance division. So, you know, that's definitely a tough thing, and you know, everybody's looking for CDL drivers right now.
Wow. Yeah, it's the reality. I don't know what to say. I'm just. I wish we could, you know, bring that rate up. I won't be. I wish we could. It's a fight.
Oh, I think with the new director on board in the water maintenance, I'm hoping that he'll be able to push through and work diligently to be able to bring our staffing numbers up, you know, even a little bit. I think will be a help.
Yeah. Brian's a good guy, and he's very personable and well-liked, and that'll go a long way. That'll go a long way. Well, on that note, I think we've come to the end of our agenda. And if there are no further questions, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor?
I
Thank you.